on. Hey everyone, welcome to on the Facebook page Awareness for MS, our Awareness Month for MS, and on YouTube we are on Miss Grace Glamour and Grit, otherwise known as MS. The Miss is actually MS, Grace, Glamour, and Grit, because us women can live with grace, glamour, and grit, even though we have MS. So, if you were with me last night, I was live, and it was horrendous. Don't be checking it out just because I said it's horrendous. No, but I actually had something that I wanted to talk about and forgot. I guess I didn't forget, but I was tired and I did not think or consider what that would actually do to me talking and the way I the way I am usually on these videos, which I hope I bring a lot of energy to the video. And although I feel like I really want to talk about meditation and I still had passion for that specifically, the way your body reacts when you are tired, you can't overcome that. It's the way your body reacts. You can't say, yo, body, just stop acting this way for 20 minutes while I do my live. It's going to react the way it's going to react. So thinking about that made me thinking about how tired I was, made me consider fatigue when it comes to MS, of course. But more than that, it made me think of chronic fatigue and whether chronic fatigue and the type of fatigue we go through with MS coincide, and whether if people who have chronic fatigue, how do they treat that? And can we treat the fatigue that we have with MS the same way? So, just so you know, I don't believe that I was tired because of the MS. I was tired because I couldn't fall asleep. So insomnia caused me to be tired. But but I want you to know that with chronic fatigue, you can actually fix it, remedy it, treat it with medicines from food. And it's not medicine that somebody's put in your food, but food can help you get better because it has all those natural things in it already. God's already given us everything we need to get better. It's whether or not we use it. So there were 10 deficiencies that cause chronic fatigue. And I want to go over 5 of them today, and I'll do 5 of them tomorrow. But top 5. The first deficiency that people who suffer from chronic fatigue have is iron. So, iron you can actually get from eating oranges, foods high in vitamin C. But if you are not eating those, you most likely might have a low iron or anemia. And that can show up in many ways, but shows up with you being chronically fatigued. So if we make sure in our diet that we have foods that are high in vitamin C, I wonder how much fatigue we would struggle with. And then on the other side of that, are we checking to see if people with MS have low iron? I don't know about any of you who have suffered with that. I actually am not a person who suffers with low iron, but I'm curious to see if there's anyone else on here who suffers with having low iron, because that is one of the things that causes chronic fatigue. And if you're suffering with fatigue, although I know MSers do all the time, would it help you to eat more oranges, get more vitamin C? I know that you can take vitamin C supplements. You can get vitamin C from oranges. You can get it from all those healthy things that you can eat that they tell you to eat during the winter. Some things like emerge emergency, which is kind of like what is that one? I can see it clearly. Something born airborne. They have they have supplements, or you can put it in your water and it has vitamin C in it. Those things you could take. They usually talk about it during the winter. Vitamin C is to keep you healthy and works on your immune system. So that is one deficiency that causes chronic fatigue. Another one is magnesium. One thing I did not realize is they say magnesium is one of the most important minerals for proper functioning of your body. And it made me think about the the problems that we have with our body when it comes to MS. And I kind of want to start taking magnesium. I actually do take magnesium. I take it in a supplement. I have vitamins, but magnesium is also supposed to help with stress. And that's the reason why I take the supplements. And it's L-theron magnesium. So because I have a problem with stress, I actually have adult ADHD, the therapist said. So, and I believe her because I lived my life. But I know that it has helped so much. And I've kind of gone back and forth whether I like to have the crystals that go in the water, a powder form that goes in the water, or if I just like the vitamins. I got the vitamins again. The powder form's a little more expensive, but I'll be honest with you guys, I like the powder form better. And I felt like it calmed me, but they're saying that it's one of the most important minerals for proper functioning. So it makes me curious on if I took the right amount of magnesium, because there are actually different types of magnesium. If I took the right amount, if that would help with the cognitive part. You see what I mean? Because it was talking about functioning and it was talking about the brain. And I was like, that's interesting. So I will let you know, because I am going to start taking the other part of the magnesium. You always put lemon slices in your water for vitamin C. Thank you, Jane. Jane, she mentioned the lemon slices. Do you know, for some reason, my mind went blank when I was about to say, and the other things you can get vitamin C from, then my mind went blank. Yes, citrus things you can get vitamin C from. Lemon slices are good. And I'm in the position right now where my gastric doctor or GI doctor, he has asked me or told me that I shouldn't eat anything with anything acidic. And I was like, are you serious? And took out of my diet. He actually said I can't have lemons, I can't have limes, I can't have oranges, pineapples, mangoes, anything that's acidic. So he said I can only have berries and a banana and bananas, which crushed me because I was a huge fruit eater. But he said that I had Barrett's esophagus, and supposedly it's messing with the acid reflux stuff. So I bet you enjoy all of that, the lemon in your water. Yes, taking definitely taking a supplement is okay. So I do stick with my supplements, but I'd rather have the fruits because I love fruits. But I will always stick with the supplement. So that is magnesium. Magnesium is really good for the proper functioning of your body. The next one is number three is potassium. And I know as soon as I say potassium, people are going to probably think bananas, and you would be correct. But bananas, oranges, spinach, sweet potatoes, you can get potassium from any of that. And Jane says she's vegan, so fruits are kind of mandatory. Yes. Yes, actually, they're the best things. I'm actually starting a journey on plant based. So I I didn't start yesterday. I have a cookbook coming, and I remember when I was watching what I was eating and taking meat out of my diet. I did that for a while, and I actually felt better. I live with my parents. They always cook meat because they will never stop cooking meat. And I think my dad cooked out on the grill one summer. He cooked ribs, and his ribs are always my favorite. But now I'm over it. I'm trying to get to the point where I'm walking better and resting better, and my body is just working for me. So I don't mind doing it and starting all over again. But I'm wondering if when he cooks out this summer, if I will have the same problem. Should probably be out of town. But yes, plant-based diet. So potassium and concentrates a lot on those fruits and vegetables, but it's important in your muscles and nerve function. So once again, something that can remedy some of the very problems that we have as MSers. And that said, the nerve problems, I'm actually still remitting relapsing. I actually have remitting relapsing MS. I really feel like I've been blessed as far as the MS is concerned because it's been 23 years, and I always thought and still think that's a progressive illness. But although I've seen an increase of certain symptoms, I've not seen it get too bad for me. So I try to stay positive, but I think with changing my diet and starting to exercise again, I need to get some of this weight off of me. I think that I'll be good. So I'm good now, but I'll be even better as far as the MS is concerned. But with the potassium, again, it's going to be important for your muscle and your nerves. So I will definitely say that you're going to want to stick with having all those bananas and things that will help you with your nerves because MS is one of those things that happen to us is the nerves are not getting the signal from the brain because of the myelin sheath being basically messed up because of our immune system eating away at the good things. So just imagine if this helps with the nerves. Oh, we speak the same. Okay. So, what do you think is different? Is there something different about how we speak? Because I've wondered that about me as of late. Um, I'll try not to put too much pressure on myself. What do you hear in my talking? Because I wonder sometimes about if you've seen Selma Blair, who is a celebrity, and she has multiple sclerosis, and I've heard it has um interrupted her speech patterns. And I was thrown by that because I had not seen anyone specifically have a problem with that until I saw her. And Christina Applegate, I know that she's been diagnosed with it. I've seen her with a cane. So I'm thinking that it is of course messing with her gait. And Jamie Siegler, I believe she was on, oh, for a for the oh, I really pronunciate my words. Yes, yes, ma'am. Um, Jamie Siegler was on the the show that came on HBO. Everybody loved it, and the guy was a gangster, and I don't know what it is. Never watched it. But I have not seen how it interrupts her life, but it's very interesting to have these people out in the public eye and say that they have MS, and to see how people react to it. And it's also interesting. Sopranos, yes, thank you, thank you, thank you. The Sopranos, Jamie Siegler was on that. But it's interesting to see these celebrities that have been diagnosed with MS and how much attention they bring to MS. And also to see whether or not they have the same symptoms, and what they're doing about it. So I was surprised. I know that Christina Applegate she had continued to be in her role on a certain television show that she's been on, but I'm not sure if she stepped back. I know that Selma Blair stepped back from movies and things of that nature. So yes, Jane, it's really interesting to hear and see what they're doing for it, because so much attention is brought to MS when we talk about those celebrities having it. But the next one, and I think all of us are going to probably be like, of course, but a deficiency in vitamin D. And they have started to say that that's one of the things that they believe leads us to the diagnosis of multiple sclerosis, is having that deficiency in vitamin D. You are a nurse. You say you were a nurse. Um, did you stop because of the MS, or did you retire? I'm just curious. You can, and everybody, please, when I ask you a question, feel free to share or not share if you don't want to share. Yes, I take D3 supplements, and they were very high up. My doctor put me in the millions. She said take 5 million IUs. Okay, you stopped because of the MS. Okay. I think people, it's kind of hard. First off, it's really hard to continue working. It was for me, because I had such a big cognitive problem with it, and I was teaching. So I went from being a teacher to being a trainer, and sometimes things just wouldn't match up for me, and it looked like I did not know what I was speaking about. And then the client, where we were, start questioning whether or not I know what I'm talking about, which became very difficult, because of course I know what I'm talking about. I've been training on your project for 5 years, so why are you? And I had to take myself out of it, because it ended up being a toxic workplace, and then people were questioning me, and they were saying that I wasn't a good trainer, as good as other people, and I knew what was going on. But as we all know, multiple sclerosis has so much of an invisible connotation with it. I mean, there are things people can't see that goes on with us. You were terribly tired and cognition was also a problem. Yeah. I was tired a lot. I remember my boss actually let me rest in her office a lot. She let me just close my eyes for a time, but that was when I knew symptoms or issues were starting to come back because I had gone on SSDI and I wanted to work. So I went back to work and I started teaching again and got into the same position where I was just overwhelmed and tired and the cognitive. So I went back on SSDI and then I wanted to go back to work again. I mean, I think for a lot of us, wanting to be back in the workplace might have a lot to do with isolation. And especially with remitting, relapsing, when it's in remission, you're like, I can work. I mean, obviously, everything's fine. I can go back to work. So I did go back to work. And that was when I was a trainer and everything. Yeah, everything started coming back again. It relapsed. And then my cognitive function and my gait and being fatigued and then being in a toxic work area. So, yes, Jane, you sound like you know exactly what I'm talking about. And it was the hardest thing. So now I sit here and I'm like, it's so boring. And I watch my mood swing. And and I did not know that they equate that to MS. They said MSers have really bad mood swings. I was like, oh, is that what it is? But it did start to do that because I want to go out. Yes, and COVID felt like being in solitary confinement. But you know what? What I found to be true was a lot of other people were saying, how hard of a time they were having with isolation. And I was like, oh, this is my everyday. What are you talking about? This is what I do. I'm always isolated. And I kind of now that I think about it, I was doing videos back then, not as much as I'm doing now, but I wish I did. I think I did talk about and compare the isolation that we feel having to be at home every day to the isolation that they were feeling. And I was like, now you know what it's like for someone who has chronic illness and has to stay home all the time. So remember them. I was trying to make a parallel there. So I hope they picked it up. Yes, exactly. See, we're thinking alike. Look at that. But vitamin D you can actually get through salmon and mushrooms, but you can also get vitamin D from the sunlight. Yes. For those of you who like to be outside, for those of you who like to be outside, you can get it when you're out in the sun and it absorbs in your skin. And those are wonderful people, but sometimes it depends on where you live because if you're in the sun, you're also going to have a problem with yes, with fatigue because the sun is going to drain you because the heat is so bad. So I live in Charleston and the heat is horrendous here. They talk about, I mean, come on, we're today it was 90 degrees. It's April. I mean, come on. What's the problem? And, and I think that way a lot of times. Oh, you're in Canada. Oh, it's cold. Hey, does the cold mess with you? Do you feel like the cold really bothers you a lot with the MS? Because I just went up to Indiana a couple of weeks ago and I felt like I was fine, but I found out that I was a little more despondent and fatigued. I was fatigued a lot. I just felt like I wasn't making connections in the brain as quickly as I could. Maybe it was all that running around, being out, and by the time I hit back in the Airbnb, I was tired. It was a wrap. And now that I look back at that time, I just feel like, boy, I was just completely off. So I'd be interested in knowing how the cold affects you. So, vitamin D, you're going to get salmon, mushrooms, and then, of course, being outside. And make sure that you watch yourself in the amount of time that you are outside. You have real problems with the heat. I can always dress warm, but I can't take off all my clothes if I get to. You know what? We are like I feel like we're the same person because I say that. I say that walking around here because my parents are, of course, older. They're 72 and 78. And my father will come in the house and the air condition will be on. It'll be like, it's too cold in here. And he'll turn it up to 79. I'm just like, Father, we are in the house and you've got it on 79. And I'm telling people, yo, I can't take off enough clothes to be cool, but Father, you could put on a blanket over you. You could wear a sweater, but it's their house. So I'm like, I'm not going to tell you what to do. But that's so funny because I always say that same thing. But that's good that the cold does not mess with you as much. The thing about Indiana was I was able to be outside more. And that was interesting to me because here I don't go outside because it's so hot. And if it was maybe May in Indiana, my sister just let me know that they were 35 degrees yesterday. It's the middle of April. They were 35 degrees. What is that? But maybe if it was May, it would be so nice in Indiana. And I know September and October with the leaves falling is gorgeous. So the amount of time that I could spend outside of Indiana would be different. But in Charleston, although it is hot, you have that water, the beaches, the views are absolutely gorgeous. But how often can I actually enjoy it? So you kind of have to balance everything. You sit in front of a fan because I can only make it at night. Yes, I actually have my Arctic Air and I turn it on, and I'm I've been falling asleep lately with it on and wake up in the morning it's still on. And I'm like, maybe that's just the way it's going to have to be. That's very cool. The last one I have for today down here is B12, and it says is crucial to brain levels. But get this, the deficiency in B12. My mouth dropped open when I read this. If you have low levels, it can cause weakness, lack of balance, numbness, and tingling in your arms and legs. Doesn't that sound just like MS? Those are symptoms of MS. And I wonder if the symptoms could be better if we had higher levels of B12. Because I know for me, when I was diagnosed, it was the numbness and tingling in my arms and legs. And I still get that every once in a while. My balance is just off, balance and coordination, and then weakness. So I'm thinking of upping my B12. I know I have some B12 drops in the refrigerator, and I out of sight is out of mind for me. So I had to get B12 shots because of my deficiency. Okay, Jane, I didn't know they had B12 shots. Interesting. I'll have to talk to my doctor about that because, I mean, when I read over this, and let me just say the food that you can eat for B12 is beef, chicken, and seafood. So, Jane, what I have seen, even looking at comparing the chronic fatigue and the fatigue of the MS and the deficiencies and whether or not I can eat my way to being okay with all the vitamins up on the right levels. And I'm just like, some of these, I mean, you see them in the store. So why not just take it? Yeah, B12 supplements. Why not? I should have vitamins all across the dresser or all across in the counter in the kitchen and take them every morning to see whether or not that helps me with some of the MS. And I guess that could be a multivitamin. But I mean, does it really have all the vitamins? I personally would rather take one of each so I know I'm getting all of it. But that is really interesting. You get B12 shots. I know they always say to take vitamin D for MS. So, like I said, my doctor had me up in the millions ICUs. Um, and then I said the thing about magnesium. And with magnesium, of course, it's supposed to help my ADHD, but they also talk about that being a deficiency with chronic fatigue. So I would definitely say that we need to check up on some of these things. And I'm not a doctor. First off, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a nurse. I'm not a psychiatrist. So all of these things, I am looking at my MS and thinking about whether or not it can be not fixed, but if I could buy more time, by doing all these things, like taking daily vitamins, or making sure that I get rest. I know last night after I got of this live, off of the live, I went ahead to bed because I was so tired. And one thing that I have to make sure that I do is exercise, because exercising kind of helps regulate you wanting to go to sleep. As crazy as it is, it will put you on a pattern to want to lay down. And I was really tired, but I took my medicine that I usually take at night for MS, and I took a Tylenol PM just because I wanted to make sure I fell asleep. And sometimes I struggle with insomnia. But yeah, I just want to try to buy more time. I struggle with some of the help aids. I don't like having my cane. I'm really working on my drop foot to see if I can walk with it better. And then, of course, I have a rollator. I haven't used it in a while, but my sister borrowed one from the church when I was there, and I think I used it once. Um, it's a bit clunky for me, but we do have, you struggle with insomnia too. Yeah, we do have here coming up, and I don't know, Jane, if they have an ability expo in Canada. I'm thinking close to you. They do have an ability expo in Chicago. I believe ability expo. I'll put it down here. Um, I know they have one in Chicago. I just don't know when it's coming up. It might be coming up May, or no, it's June. The Ability Expo in Chicago is June 23rd, 24th, and 25th. That's as close to um, Canada. They do have one coming up in New York, but that's May 4th, 5th, and 6th. Um, they have all of these things to help you walk or help you with whatever issue you're having with a disability to help you to be more independent. And it's actually on this, on the MS page, accountability, or sorry, I'm thinking of accountability, but awareness month for MS on Facebook if you're part of that. But yes, it's on there. I did post it. I'll repost it. But they have all these companies coming, and each of these companies have different devices that they have created to help people with disabilities be more independent. And one that I saw was a rollator. They had a rollator. It's called, I believe it's called a roller, because the rollator can turn into a wheelchair, and the arm can come all the way up for, like, if you're standing and want to just lean on it. It was amazing. I can't wait to see that. Then they had another company that customizes the wheelchair to people. I had no idea about this. And I know we don't have prosthetic a prosthetic leg or anything, but they even have a prosthetic leg. They call it, oh, they call it Watergate, and then gate as in GAIT, and then a water leg. And it's one that you can actually get the prosthetic wet, the prosthetic. Yeah. You can get it wet. They can go in the water and everything. And I was like, I need to be here and see what is available, because I so much want my independence, and I need people to stop thinking that I can't drive, that I can't go somewhere by myself, that, something overwhelming is going to happen and just end all things. The world's going to stop, because that's not how I feel. I mean, I feel young enough to, yeah, they can go in the pool. I do, I was about to say, I do go in the pool, but I haven't been in a pool in a long time. And I know they say that that is the type of exercise, water aerobics and things, that is supposed to help the most because it regulates your temperature. And I have a heart, well, I'm here. I am not part of the Y. I'm not part of any membership that I can get in any of these neighborhoods around here that have a pool. And I've always thought to do that, but I feel like I need my own car. My friends would say, Uber and Lyft take you anywhere. But I like to have my own time. Sometimes when I go somewhere, I just like to go and not be rushed. If I want to just walk around the store and see what they have and say, oh, yeah, I think I'd like that. Or if I want to go to the pool, I want to just get down in the pool and get out when I want to get out, not get out when somebody can come get me. You haven't gone for years, but everyone keeps, yeah, yeah. A lot of people do say that water aerobics is supposed to be great for MS, because one, you're regulating your body heat, and that you're not putting as much stress on your joints. So there are several things that we can do. And I think, I know you're probably going to say it. Exactly. I think we don't do, because we get so comfortable in the place that we're at. I'm like, yeah, it helps with balance. Yeah. I can imagine that. And that, even if you do fall, um, you're not really falling. And I've seen some things on TV where they have the bikes underwater, and people are riding bikes, and you're able to get enough, you know, you're able to work up enough of an aerobic heartbeat. And I mean, I would love to see it. I just, I don't know. Maybe this town is too big for me all because I'm like, where would I go? What do you do? I would go to the more, expensive part of town, but I don't want to pay the money all the time for the expensive part of town, but I love the expensive part of town. But it's really nice out here near Mount Pleasant. And I don't know, downtown Charleston is a lot to go through. It's just a lot of people, a lot of traffic, a lot of, yeah. It's kind of funny that I'm saying all this because I like big cities. Charleston is not a big city, you know, not at all. But it feels like it is more and more because there's so many people here and there's so much traffic and just so much congestion, and because everything you have to go over a bridge to get anywhere. and and yeah, so maybe one day I'll get together and move back towards your area, move back up north. But I'm thinking about moving, and maybe I will be able to go to some of those things like water aerobics and have my own. Oh, you're in Vancouver. Okay. Yes, Vancouver, BC. Okay, I've never been to Canada. I've always said if I did have to move out of the country, I would love to go to Canada. I think you guys do things right. And I yeah, I think we'll have to, it's a big city. Okay, maybe I don't need to go. Maybe I don't need to go. But we should, yeah, I hope to West Coast, oh, on the ocean. Don't you? I love the ocean. Look, I'm going to write all that down. I love the ocean. That's actually why I stay here. But when I do get out, I feel as though, I mean, how much time do I actually spend on the beach or looking at the ocean or anything like that? Because I could spend more time, but the amount of time I do spend, I can do that while visiting. I could do it while visiting. I don't have to live here. But that is Vancouver, Vancouver, BC. I have friends that live up north. I'm actually from up north. I'm from Fort Wayne, Indiana. So we're up near Michigan. And it's the northeast corner of Indiana. It's near Ohio and Michigan. But yeah, it's interesting to see what other people think of foods going to MS to, oh, you got the ocean and the Rocky Mountains. See, that just sounds gorgeous. And to see like we have so much in common, and I tell you, the internet's pretty cool. Internet's pretty cool. Oh, she lives in Michigan. Okay. That's very, see, look, we have so much in common. When you guys see this, you're just gonna see me and Jane. We were right here. We were right here. And yeah, it's nice to talk to people who understand what MS is like and what MS is not, and understand that people always see things a certain way and it's actually not that way, and we're living with it and we're able to tell you what it actually is. So if anybody has any questions, always feel free to message me on here. I so enjoy talking to you, Jane, and I am back usually every day. I don't plan on going anywhere anytime soon. So I enjoyed this so much, and I hope to see you all tomorrow and talk to you again. And I will see you, Jane. I'm going to look up all of that interesting facts about Vancouver. So, so I'm glad you saw it too. You take care. I hope to see you again. Bye.